Okay, so I'd like to give my formal review of the KeroWorld 10,000 BTU kerosene heater. This thing puts out a lot of heat, and they burn very efficiently with very little pollution. Right, so I actually have 3 carbon monoxide detectors. One there, a handheld which detects down to 1 ppm in the house. Test it with my vehicle. And then I have the third up here, and then I have a smoke detector there. This one in particular, I've used many of these. This one's really easy to operate. You have your push button ignition, which still works, and it's relatively easy to light. You could also hand light it with a match or an extension lighter, like a grill lighter. You have your push extinguish, which instantly shuts it down. And also, if it gets tipped over, that's going to activate and pull that wick down and drown it out quickly. For me, I grew up with these, lived with my grandparents, which they had propane heat, but it was very expensive to run and pay for the gas. And so we had these around. And so I've been lighting these since I was about 12. So I've got it down to a science on how to efficiently light it with relatively less smoke and pollution. Well, as less as I can get. You will still get some smoke, but the goal is you want to have a blue flame right above your chimney area there, and you want all of it glowing red. You don't want any dark spots in it, and you don't want your flame halfway up as well. And that's going to produce a clean burn. That's the most efficient and uses the most efficient amount of kerosene. And these come with the 1-gallon tank, which on a clean burn, you're getting about 16 hours on that 1 gallon. This is a detector which, excuse me, you don't see until like your fuel level is like all the way at the end of the tank. So to me, it's kind of redundant, but it is what it is. You know, I'll pull it out after a few hours and kind of just feel where the kerosene is. And with these, they don't recommend it, but I do it. You can actually pull those tanks out as the kerosene is running. I'm very careful with it. I'll show you a sample. I'm probably at half a tank now. I'd have been rolling it for 10 hours. But you can pull it out. I take it to the basement. I fill it back up. I pop it back in there while it's still rolling. I'm just careful with it, right? I'm not shaking the whole machine around. I'm not jerking it out. Like, don't be an idiot. Natural selection is a thing, and you don't want to be a statistic in that. But like I said, it's easy to refuel. These are relatively easy to maintain as well, and they're extremely efficient at heating your home. I have 1,000 square feet. What I do with this is I keep 2 doors shut back there, and then I do roll throughout the night. I roll it throughout the night. And I keep my bedroom shut with a radiator heater. That heats my bedroom, and this heats the rest of my house to prevent pipes from freezing and to prevent me from having to run my heat pump throughout the night. Or from like coming out and having to heat my house from 30 degrees to 70 with the central heat and air. I have a heat pump which doesn't work below 20 degrees and which kicks on emergency heat automatically. And that just zings my meter. You know, I've seen my electric bill at $1,000 a month here. And I use this to prevent that. It's way cheaper than $1,000 a month. I'm paying about $6 a gallon for kerosene in the area. That's K1 clear. I could probably pay less for the dyed kerosene, but that I just don't like the smell of that, and it doesn't burn as clean. This heater here I bought used for $70 from a guy. He said he had it a whole year and he used it. He didn't maintain it too well. It was pretty dirty when I bought it, and the wick was very dirty. It had not been burned off once. I burn off my wicks every 3 tanks, but when I got it, it actually wouldn't even light. I took it all apart. I burned off the wick, and I had a pair of pliers, and I was crushing the carbon on it. I kept burning it off. Went about 3 rounds, and then the wick looked relatively new after. And then I fired it up, and it fired up very quick and efficiently. And that's the thing. I've been using these for a long time. I do know how to fire these up pretty efficiently and quickly without a whole lot of smoke and soot. And you'll get used to that the longer you use these. But like I said, I have the original wick in there. This thing's been rolling for about 10 hours now, but you can get these wicks, replacement wicks, on Amazon for like 12 bucks a piece. I recommend you have one because you might be in a situation where it's snowing and excuse me, you're stuck at home and you can't get out and buy a replacement wick, or Amazon can't get to your house. Not that I'd want to rely on Amazon anyways, but you know what I mean. But yeah, you do have the other option, the 23 BTU round ones, and they work well. Those are overkill for my house. And they burn twice the kerosene and put out twice the pollution. For me, I do like these better because, you know, all kerosene heaters really only have one setting. Instead of starting and stopping the round kerosene heater, I'd recommend getting like 2 of these for a big house, and sometime during the day or night running 1 at a time, or fire up 2 when you really need the heat, as opposed to stopping the big round kerosene heaters throughout the day and just causing all that additional pollution. It's just a little redundant. Now, if you have a house that isn't as well insulated or a larger garage, those make more sense. But yeah, that's my formal review. This thing puts out a ton of heat. It's very efficient. I think it's safe. I've been monitoring the carbon monoxide levels, and it hasn't detected anything other than when I start them and they smoke a little bit. That's when my handheld does detect. But other than that, I do recommend these. People have been using them for 100 years now, maybe even longer. But yeah, if you'd like any more information on these, just let me know and I'll make another video. Peace.